costs of healthcare are. And then I'd like to see where people have ability to be able to shop across state lines for healthcare coverage, to open up competition in healthcare providing. And I think through all those things, it'll increase access while still keeping the good things of our healthcare system in place.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's shift it now to energy dependence.
Yes.
Illinois actually is a state pretty rich in resources.
We are.
I just read it recently. We actually found some oil reserves in this state,
Yeah.
as well as we have coal. We have nuclear, some of the most amount of nuclear plants of almost any state.
Right.
We have biodiesel with the soybeans. We've got ethanol with the corn. So we have quite a bit. We have wind farms around this area as well, and in your district.
Yes.
And wanted to get your feeling on what are some ways we can get off the dependency of foreign oil.
Well, I think even as you said it, Illinois is a model where we've got some wonderful new ways of providing energy that people need in their business and in their lives. And I'm proud of all that we do in Illinois. What I don't like, and the wrong way to go, is what the federal government's trying to do with cap and trade and carbon tax, where it becomes this hammer over the head of business, small business especially, and individuals who are going to be paying higher costs for their energy. My sense is on all this is that what the government is really trying to do is they're saying, you know what, we have really too high of a standard of living right now, and we want to lower that standard of living. And we want to do that by controlling what energy you have access to and how much it's going to cost you. I think that's the wrong way to go. It never works. It's failed in other areas where they try and meddle in choices that people can make. The better way of doing it is really tapping into the ingenuity of Americans. We have been on the cutting edge of really almost every development that's out there. And I think as we give credits for research and development, if we extend this 10-year tax credit for research and development, so people know that as they continue to find new ways of providing energy for people, that they're going to realize the benefit from that. Now the inventor, but also the rest of our nation is going to enjoy the benefit from that. That's a good thing. I think the other thing we can do is just take advantage of all of these different resources that we have, but let people have the freedom to choose that. We've seen how difficult it is you mentioned the nuclear facilities that we have. I've been through LaSalle nuclear facility just in the last month and was very impressed with what they're doing, but I also see that's, decades old when that was built, and there's no way. Yeah, they are, and there's, it's been many, many, many years since we built a new nuclear facility. That's crazy. We look at countries like Norway or France, you can't say that they're irresponsible in their concern about environment, and yet they have done sightings of nuclear plants very recently and do it often, and also have done drilling. And so we need to site more nuclear sites. We need to continue to find ways to use and expand clean coal as a great option. All these things, as we do drilling, advance nuclear, open up some new coal plants that are clean coal plants. We've been able to do that here in Illinois. So we will have less dependence on foreign oil.
Let's talk about clean coal for a little, because we're rich in coal in Illinois. And I think one of the frustrations that some voters have that researched it is that the pollutant out of coal is sulfur dioxide.
Right.
That's what causes the acid rain, all the other things. But they've got scrubbers in these smokestacks that take care of that.
Yes.
But environmental groups say that's not enough because they believe CO2 is a pollutant. And I guess the question I have for you is CO2 a pollutant or not? Because clean coal, it can't be clean if it releases CO2.
Yeah, you ask our trees outside, and they love it. They're soaking it up literally and turning it back into oxygen for us. So, it's not. We need to keep levels on things or understand what we're contributing to our world and being good stewards of our earth. I absolutely believe that. But I think there's so much misinformation out there, and we get punished as Americans so unfairly. Our small business is paying the price that we know there's other countries that aren't doing half the work we're doing with our clean coal plants, and they're getting away with it. They're doing it all the time, and yet our federal government wants to put more burdens on our individuals and small businesses and to punish them, people who really are creating jobs and trying to do this as well as they possibly can. I think that's the right way to do it. It's really that carrot versus the stick. And as we give them the carrot of being productive and having something that's valuable, that's how we're going to move this forward. And we've seen it before of what our next technology technology is going to be. In the meantime, we're still going to have some dependence on fossil fuels. That's so much of our system is set up that way. But I think if we can start moving away from that into some of these other areas and giving incentive for research and development in these things, we're going to have great advancement coming forward. I'm so confident in the ingenuity of Americans and the American spirit if we're allowed to let that be set free. Cap and trade doesn't do that at all. It goes exactly the opposite. It puts a huge damper on the free spirit and the ingenuity of the American spirit. So that's what I want to do.
Cap and trade is all about carbon dioxide.
Right.
It doesn't do anything for sulfur dioxide
Right.
or any of the real pollutants that are out
I
there.
know.
But I do want to get your take on this. In August of this year, Doctors Linzen and Choi from MIT released a paper that was a 20-some-year study from satellite feeds on heat. And what they showed was all the UN models were actually inaccurate because the Earth was actually releasing as much amount of proportion of heat as it was creating. So therefore, the conclusion of the paper was that we won't see any significant global warming from man-induced heat issues. There also was the East Anglia issue with the emails. And whether you're pro or against, the thing that raised concerns was it feels like there wasn't a lot of scientific structure to some of the things that they were doing based on the emails. I want to get your take on that and want to get to your idea of what is the difference between, true concern for the environment and what I'll call governmental desire for environmentalism, because I think a lot of voters see a difference there. Everyone wants a clean world. I guess as a congressman, what would you do to ensure that we're doing the right things to keep our environment sound? What your thoughts are on the question I read, and what are the things that you would oppose?
It's a great question, and I think it is one that we all do need to work through. And there's so much misinformation out there that really frustrates me. And to me, it goes back to following the money. You see how much money there is in research because of this threat of global warming. We see Al Gore now the first green billionaire, or close to it, I guess, of all the money that he's made by pushing the green economy and all these restrictions on real business and accomplishing things through normal incentives and people just wanting to work hard, but instead when government comes in and forces things, or when there's scare tactics, we've seen a lot of people have made a lot of money from that. So I do think we've got to be very skeptical with the science that we've seen out there. I don't know if we have an impact. We may have a very minor impact as human beings, but nothing compared to the impact that the sun has. I mean, really, that's what we've seen throughout generations, centuries of recorded history of how our temperature does fluctuate, throughout the decades, throughout the centuries. And it's really not because of what we've done. I mean, you just think back on the Ice Age. Clearly, that wasn't because of fossil fuel emissions that icebergs melted. It's because of the sun impacting the earth. And so there are things that we can do, but I think it gets back to what our mentality is. Is it government coming in and forcing regulation with what I think a very clear ulterior motive of having incentives of lobbyists and others who want to see more money going into the science that they're concerned about or that they want to create? Or are we going to say, again, let's be good stewards. Let's go after people who are bad actors, who are really intentionally breaking laws to pollute our world. Let's go after them. But those people who are really trying to do good, and we talked about our clean coal plants here in Illinois, where they've had wonderful advancements, and it's providing jobs, and it's providing energy. It's doing it in a good way. Let's let them continue that. So my goal is I'm going to be concerned about our world to be a good steward of the earth that we've been given. But I also don't want to do that at the expense of small businesses and having a government-created fear out there that is forcing us to act in a certain way that the science just doesn't justify. So I'm going to be skeptical as congressman. I want them to really prove it to me, especially when government's coming in and trying to force something down our throats.
Okay. Well, let's change the subject here to immigration.
Yes.
And do you believe in amnesty first, and follow that up with what are your thoughts on how to stem the flow of illegal immigration?
Yeah, absolutely not. I don't believe in amnesty. I won't support amnesty out there. We do need reform of our immigration system, and I think it's pretty clear-cut what we need to do. We need to tighten up our borders. it's ridiculous to me that we've got, what, 670 miles of border on our southern border, and we've been talking about fencing there for years, and we can't get it done. That's ridiculous to me. Why we don't just get some real